Okay, so here we are, we're back on the River Usk today. Sunday morning fishing off the jetty down by the car showroom. I've come up on the e-bike again. Really nice ride up. I've strapped on the Shakespeare chair, the one with the backpack and a backrest, and everything fitted on okay. I do need to swap out those pannier bags with a sort of a metal tray of some sort, because the chair, even though it's strapped down with a cargo net and a couple of straps, does have a habit of slightly sliding out to the side. So I just need to do that, and I also need to be able to move it back a bit further because it's interfering with pedalling. Now, coming down here from home, that's not so bad because I only use the throttle power. I don't pedal because it's all level on the way. But if I go a little bit further, for instance, yesterday I took a leisure pedal out to the wetland centre in Nash, return journey of about 11-12 miles, and a couple of those have fairly reasonable gradients. Now, you won't go up throttle alone unless you're prepared to go really slow. It does need a little bit of help on the pedalling. So with this backpack on, I'm going to just catch my foot as I pedal. So I want to sort of move it back a little bit. What it does mean though, because I went to Nash yesterday in the wetland centre, it does mean that I'm able to go to St Bride's. I'm within range of St Bride's there and back on one battery charge, so I'll try that out. But anyway, back to today. It's Sunday morning. It's nice and sunny. It's warm. It's quite a high tide, which is why I'm fishing off the jetty rather than the bank, which is what I prefer, because we're going to lose a bank fairly soon. I quite like it because it's morning. You know, it's now about 8:30, 8:45, so about another hour before the high tide. And because it's been really hot lately, it's still quite cold because it's morning. I wouldn't want to come fishing here this afternoon because it's just going to be too hot. But morning fishing session is great. I've just got some frozen mackerel there from Iceland. It's cheap enough, and you can also get some quite cheap sardine from places like Lidl's and Aldi. And what I use to tie onto the hook is I just use some organic cotton, mainly because cotton will biodegrade very quickly compared to the nylon elastic that's used. So I tend to use just cotton and just wrap it round, and that holds it well enough. But that bait's been in long enough. Let's just go and bring it in and swap out the bait. Looks like we've lost one. I thought I'd had a nibble, but I weren't too sure. And it seems we had lost one of the baits. So always keep the skin on, because the skin tends to hold the bait a lot better and easier than if you just use flesh. I just pop it in and then just wrap around a little bit of organic cotton. I try not to use plastic or nylon or anything like that, because it's not fantastic for the environment. So if I can get away with using cotton, then that's what I will do. And the other thing I try and do is to keep my end tackle on the lighter line than my main line, and to keep it as short as possible, because what that does, hopefully, is mean if I do get caught up, then as little line as possible is left to interfere with wildlife. I go with short end tackle and lighter, not vastly lighter, just light enough so that if I do get caught up, then it breaks there rather than halfway up my line, leaving yards and yards of fishing line to get hung up on fish and other wildlife such as birds. So try and always be as pro-environment as possible, but of course you're not going to be totally that. When you're fishing, you can't be 100% impact free, but you can be as impact free as possible. Okay, we've just had some little strikes on the rod, nothing major, but significant enough for it not to be either the wind or the tide. There's definitely something nibbling away, but it's not strong enough or significant enough for me to take the strike. So I think we'll just hold off just a little bit longer and see if something happens. Okay, we've got very different movements on there. I'm just going to bring it in, change the bait if it's now got a strike. But they do have definite movement earlier. So I'll just see what happens, because it's due for a bait change anyway. So we'll see what happens. Ooh. We did have something, but it fell off. I didn't actually change the bait over the last time, so I'm just going to reel in and do a bait change, cast out again, and see if we get another strike like we did. I don't know what fish it was, but it's quite silvery, quite large, probably a bass at this time of year, but you never know. So let's reel in and change the bait over. Okay, as always on the Usk, I'm not casting out particularly far, maybe about 20 metres or so, but you don't need to go too far out. Just trying to tackle that. And I think that's about it. Well, it's tide's on the way out now, about an hour after high tide. We did have that fish, which unfortunately I didn't land. I don't think I was quite hooked up enough, or didn't strike hard enough. But I'm not too worried because it's been a wonderful morning. It's been nice and warm. That probably helps with keeping the fish away. But there's been so much bird life I've been watching. We've had obviously the gulls, but there's also been waders. Saw a cormorant, a couple of dippers, some martins. So a good range of bird life. Ducks, of course. So it's always worth spending a few hours down by the river. You're just there quietly with a fishing line. There's cormorant just landed over there, and you can really enjoy a bit of peace and quiet. There's also been a couple of motorboats up and down. There's one coming up at the moment, a speedboat with a skier behind it, but they're just turned around because I think because the tide's on the way down, it's picking up quite a speed, and they're going to be pushing up against the tide quite a lot, so they've just swung around down the bottom there. It's just really nice, relaxing. I know you got the sound of the cars in the background, but that's often drowned out by the sounds of the birds. So even if you don't catch anything, it's still a really nice way just to relax, let the stresses disappear, and just enjoy a few hours in downtime. So we've got probably about another hour left of the tide. So we'll just keep our eye on the line. Okay, there's probably about another half hour left of water, but the water is, oh, there's a nice little dipper. There's a water is heading out. It's very warm, so I think I'm going to call it a day. What I'll do is I'll haul in, I'll pack everything up, I'll put it onto the bike, and then I'll show you how I pack this backpack onto the bike and some of the issues that are with it, because it's not perfect, but it's good enough, and there's better ways of doing it, I'm sure, if I do a few adaptations. But let's haul it in. I only had that one bite today, which got away, but it's been a very pleasant morning. But let's get moving. Okay, so we've just loaded up the bike with the backpack chair, but as you can see, one of the problems with the panniers is that I can't get to strap it down at the side. I can only strap it down to the front and the back, and that means it's not quite as stable as it can be. When I get rid of the panniers, I can put on a wider metal tray around the back, move it back a bit so I've got an extra bit of space down where the pedals are, and it should be a lot easier, a lot more stable for taking the fishing gear. But I'll just load it up. What I use is a couple of the straps and a cargo net, and the rod goes separate to the bag. Everything else fits in the bag. Okay, so that's it. I've strapped up with the cargo and I've got my rod on separate. Now, of course, one of the questions that you'll probably be asking is why I don't just wear it on the back of my back as I pedal along. And there's a very good reason for that, and anybody who rides a motorbike will know that you don't want to have metal bars crossing your neck or crossing your back, because even if you take a minor fall, you can break your back or break your neck and make you paraplegic. And this bar here, even though slightly padded, runs right across my neck, when I'm carrying it as a backpack. So I don't want that smashing my neck bone if I should take a fall or if I get knocked off. So that's the reason why I always store it on the back rather than on the back. Right, so that's another video on our Tackle King website. If you'd like to see more, please like, subscribe and share. And until next time, tight lines and happy fishing.